ATN News.
All right, so the crisis in the health sector is our focus on a Monday night news tonight. And like we've told you, it's not just the doctors on strike, it is the nurses on strike as well. So let's talk about this with Alfred Obengo, who's the chair of the National Nurses Association of Kenya. Thank you for making the time tonight.
Thank you, Yvonne.
So let's start off by talking about what the Cabinet Secretary has had to say on this issue. He says negotiations, particularly for the nurses, were ongoing. Why then the decision to go on strike and that the collective bargaining agreement was still being discussed?
I want to say from the offset that health sector cannot be managed through knee-jerk reactions by the government. The strike notice was given a long time ago. These issues that actually are coming around have been issues that have been there from time immemorial. So it is, I find it a bit hypocritical for this last minute and 11th hour negotiations that are being pushed through our throats.
Were the negotiations ongoing, particularly for the nurses' CBA?
We've never had negotiations until yesterday when phones started ringing that we go to Afia House, we have talks.
So there have never been any talks on the CBA for nurses?
There have never been any talks. The only talks we had was with the Council of Governors, which we had started but also didn't take off nicely.
Okay, so what was the problem then that led to the strike? Because you say they didn't take off nicely. Perhaps for our viewers to understand, what was the breakdown?
We all know that the county government never had the requisite infrastructure to manage healthcare, and especially the health personnel. So these have always been the challenge that we are facing. And there are issues that pertain to salary delays. There are issues that pertain to low wages that nurses are being paid and other health workers, which we have raised time and time again and have never been addressed.
So then tell us about the pay disparity issues, because I know, nurses have been talking a lot about harmonization. Explain to us very quickly, if you can, the problem, because we understand there's pay disparity between nurses who have diplomas, those who have degrees, and you're looking for harmonization. Correct me if I'm wrong.
The issue that we have here is that when health workers are devolved, there are some health workers and also nurses who are working with the municipal or these councils that were there before the devolved government. Some of them are getting better wages than the others. So as of now, you have staff, nurses who are working the same job group but different wages. And that's what we want to be harmonized, so that they can earn the same. They are doing the same job but earning differently.
Or what will it take to get you back to work? Or rather, how far are you willing to go? How long, will this stretch out before we see the nurses return to work? What needs to happen?
I want to say that before even I answer that question, that if nothing is going to be done very soon, the situation is going to get worse. But unless and until the CBA is tabled, is signed and registered in the court of law, is when we will sign a return to work formula.
All right, and the Cabinet Secretary says he's hopeful tomorrow morning that all of you, doctors, nurses, and all the other stakeholders, Treasury, SRC, will meet tomorrow and there'll be a resolution to this stalemate. Do you agree, or do you think he's the one speaking prematurely now? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, strikes are usually the option insofar as labor disputes are concerned. Nobody cherishes a strike. But we are also saying that we are ready for talks. But the talks must be meaningful, a talks which is based on mutual respect between both parties.
There was the talks last night at 5:30 p.m. Were you invited?
The talks that are being talked about last night, really, they are saying that talks collapsed. But they didn't even take off. There were no talks.
Were you invited to those talks?
But it was belated. It was belated.
So were you invited? Yes or no?
Yeah, we were invited.
Did you not go?
We didn't go.
Why not?
We didn't go because the agenda that was being put on the table was not very clear.
We understand you do not do negotiations after 5 p.m. Is that correct?
Negotiations can be done at whatever time, and as long as there is good faith that is being shown by both parties.
Okay, so you didn't feel there was a sign of good faith.
Yes.
All right, just stay with me, Alfred, because like we said, doctors and nurses are on strike right now in the country, causing